All right, let's try this one more time. Yo, let me know if the connection's good and you guys could hear me. Try this one more time. It's good. I appreciate it. It said I had an unstable connection earlier, and then I just started seeing people drop off. So I'm like, damn, this shit's kicking me off. Sam Young, City Boy, what's happening? What's happening? Yvette, appreciate that. Boosting, what's happening, Mike? Grilling up any of them exotic meats, man. If you guys got questions, man, shoot them out. Let's keep it rolling. I try to bang out another 30 minutes. I'm gonna keep these ones up on YouTube so you guys can rewatch them later. So anything I do on Tuesdays from now on, Tuesdays at 7 p.m., all the live streams are gonna get left up on YouTube so people can rewatch them. Just did a run at lunch to pick some up. That's right. Get them exotic meats, man. Trying something new. So, like I said, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. LA time or California time. Um, we're gonna live stream on here, and then we're gonna try to keep them up on YouTube so you guys can rewatch them and shit. Is there a transfer company that does gradients better than others? Nah, they're basically all the same now. Supercolor does butter smooth gradients, but I would imagine as long as your um, color profiles are set up good, your artwork set up good, whatever you see on screen should be printed. Graphic Warehouse, what's happening? Um, I will say some DTF printers, what I notice is they can't print browns good and they can't print yellows good. I don't know what that is. It might be something in the color profiles or something like that. But a lot of times, sometimes if I'm testing stuff out, like with the DTF company, and I send them browns because my logo has a little brown head. Sometimes the browns come out really, really red, or they come out like really, really muted, and they kind of look pixelated to me. So that's always kind of a weird thing for myself. So I base a lot of like transfers that I use for retail and stuff like that based on their browns. Not that I make a lot of designs with brown. I do offer a lot of t-shirts with brown print and stuff, but that's not the only thing I do. But I always go based on, can this printer print browns correctly? Supercolor does a really good job at it, so that's what I've been using. Let me see. But as far as gradients, like man, you could do butter smooth gradients with almost any, like Photoshop will let you do some like crazy stuff. Who does your label logo transfers? Supercolor. I use Supercolor wearable transfers because it has like the little tiny text. So I want to make sure that stays on the t-shirt locked in. And Supercolor's durability and quality and transfers is second to none. Like that stuff is top tier shit for myself. So that's why I use them. But because in my labels have tiny text, my website and stuff like that is really small. I want to make sure it's staying in the shirt and not going to fall off in the wash. Best printer to print on everything at home. I don't print anything at home, man. I let the big printers print for me because I want a quality product. And it's not saying you're not going to get nothing quality from printing from home, but I rather not be a slave to my printer, and I just want to create t-shirts. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't have a recommendation on a printer to print from home for t-shirts and stuff like that. I know a lot of people use white toner printers because they're fairly inexpensive compared to DTF printers. I know Racoma has a white toner printer. As far as like DTF printers, I see a lot of people use the pro colored one. I see people use the bigger what's the name of that company? All American Printing. I think that's them. They have the Prestige printer. I see a lot of people using those. Those ones come with big price tags too. But for me, it's like ventilation when printing with those big printers is an issue. An issue for myself. Babying those machines is an issue for myself. And I'd rather not just sit there and have to print transfers all day. I'd rather be printing T-shirts to be selling. So I let the big printers worry about the headaches that come with those machines, um, and I just worry about making T-shirts and selling them. But I think white toner is kind of a cool thing. The only thing that I'm not 100% sold on, but I know it's the process is like when you use the white toner printers, you have to do like this A and B page process, like to marry the design onto this, or I don't know how it actually works. I watched the videos about it, but that's the one thing that is kind of iffy. But it looks like those printers print fast and do quality work. Let me see. Yeah, anybody else got anything? Let me know. Outside of that, man, like I said, I'm just trying something new. I've been live streaming pretty steady for the last month and a half or so. Um, and then I was like, man, I might as well do one once a week and leave it up on the channel just for people to rewatch. Especially if we say something cool or share some information that could benefit a lot of other people that didn't get a chance to tune in. Outside of that, every other live stream that I've done can be found on Patreon. That's where I post them all. Right after these things are done, I usually post them up. So let me see. Um, I guess the other thing would be the AS Color block T-shirts that somebody was hit me up on Instagram and was asking about quality. Well, I'll tell you this: if you ever come to my store, I have a bunch of different T-shirt samples. So I have like the AS Color block, the Shockaware Active, the AS Color Classic, because in order to understand those t-shirts, you got to feel them. You know what I mean? So I usually just drop like when people come by and they're like, "Hey, man, like what shirts are you using?" I'll be like, "This is what the Shockaware Active shirt feels like. This is what the AS Color Block feels like. This is what the AS Color Classic feels like." So once you touch them and feel them, then you understand the difference of quality, the difference in cotton weave, the difference in everything, the weight of the t-shirt, all of that. So for me, when I'm thinking about re-releasing the sample packs that I used to do and offering the AS Color block shirt in that sample pack so people could feel it, and then also maybe like a Shockaware Active shirt so people could feel that, so they understand the difference in the two t-shirts. And these aren't the only two t-shirts on the market. These are just the two t-shirts that I've been using that I like. And it's one thing to talk about them and then show what they look like, hey, check it out, I'm wearing this shirt. But it's a different thing to actually feel them. Not everybody gets a chance to go out to the trade shows and touch and feel all these t-shirts. And then even if you do, it's overwhelming. There's a million different companies and a million different t-shirts. It's hard to remember which ones you liked and stuff. So when I first launched the sample pack was with the All Style 1701 t-shirt, because not a lot of people knew what that t-shirt felt like. It was printed with the transfer, and then I gave a bunch of different transfer samples from different transfer companies that I use. Same thing with vinyl, same thing with stickers. So I'm planning on bringing that back, but then this time I'm planning on doing it more based around like DTF transfers, because that's a popular thing right now, but helping people find different DTF transfer printers across the country, because you guys know I use Supercolor because they're here in Hawthorne and they're close to me. um I try to find local things to myself, but I understand not everybody lives in Los Angeles. There's people in middle America, on the East Coast and stuff like that. So I'm planning on getting a transfers from respectable transfer printers across the country to benefit everybody. So that way, if it's close to you, you could probably go and pick them up, or it'll be like quicker shipping because you're closer to them. And then also give you the opportunity to press them yourself and figure out if you like that ink formula and the way those lay down, because some transfers are cold peel, some are hot peel, some have bigger gang sheet sizes. Pricing is all kind of competitive now, but I just want to offer a wide range of different companies for people to use that I could vouch for, because I've either used them or um, believe in those companies and the products they do, because quality control is everything to me. So I want to make sure the the transfers that I recommend hold up in the wash, are easy to lay down and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That was the ultimate goal for the sample packs before, when I first launched them. And this is back in like 2020. I think I was doing those sample packs, and I kind of just stopped because I felt like everybody already that watched me understands what transfers are, and then I just stopped offering it. But I know there's more people that watch my channel now that are new to the game that are having a hard time finding different transfers. So I want to try to help them out by showing them some t-shirts that not a lot of people talk about. Not a lot of people talk about Shockaware Active. Not a lot of people talk about AS Color Block. So those are the ones I want to show people and be like, hey, check out these. These are good quality options for you if you wanted to get into like standard streetwear style t-shirts and stuff like that. That's the ultimate goal with bringing the sample packs back for the people. Any more podcasts or interviews coming soon? Yeah, I just need to edit them down. I got a bunch of them. I have a ton of them that are recorded. Just need to edit them down. And then there's a few that I want to do more of. So it's just time. Like I only post like 2 videos a week. Like last week, I didn't post no videos. So it's just things been busy in the store. So as the store's busy, I'm just kind of knocking stuff out, and YouTube kind of takes a back seat. Let me see. You've been working hard. Let me take you shopping. What the hell? D with 2 E's. What's happening? Watching YouTube and open YouTube on my phone, and my YouTube video cut off. Damn. Milwaukee. What's happening? Definitely thinking of going to Impressions Expo in March in Atlantic City, since I'm on the East Coast and have family in Philly. There you go, man. Um, Going to those shows is dope because you get a chance to do a bunch of different research. But what I used to use them for is like transfer companies give out samples of their transfers. So you could take all of those home and then press them up, test them out. And then that way you could actually, figure out which ones you could lay down and which ones are close to you. And then also being able to talk to the companies is kind of a cool thing too. You know what I mean? One question for Brando. I know you order blanks with a wholesale account, but without the wholesale benefit, what's the most you'll pay for blank you want to replace your brand? For me, I try to keep it around like, I would say under $5 is probably where I want to be at. The AS Color Classic T-shirt is like $7 to $8, so it comes with a bigger price tag. But then that shirt's sold to a certain clientele that one likes that feel of a T-shirt and the cut of that T-shirt, so it comes with a heftier price tag that clientele is used to already paying. When I sell like just like my regular stuff, like everything in my store right now is on Shockaware Active T-shirts, and I'm in the transition part of going towards AS Color Block. But that fit and feel of a T-shirt um, is kind of like a standard fit. You know what I mean? The feel's a little bit more rough than the block shirt. That's why I'm switching to the block, but the fit's kind of the same. So if it comes down to like me trying to figure out how I'm gonna source these t-shirts, I'm always trying to figure out how to like increase my margins. So I want to stay at like $5 or something like that. Cause like let's say it costs $5 for the blank and then $2 for the transfer. I'm into the shirt for $7. I sell the shirt for let's say like $21 or maybe even $24. I'm still tripling my money. Anything over that, it kind of gets a little dicey for myself. Like AS Color t-shirt, I mean, AS Color Classic is $7 to $8, $2 for the print. So we're looking at like $10 in. Now I'm selling the t-shirt for 30, $35. You know what I mean? So um it's a different clientele from when you start pricing your shirts that way. So for me, it's always about tripling my money or tripling my investment. So I try to keep the blank costs below $5 because I know the print cost is going to be around $2. So I'm just trying to keep my margins kind of as best as possible for me when it comes to like pricing the retail shirts. So if I had to go back, then yeah, $5 would be where I'm at. Um, and I would, if I had to, I'd go back to downtown LA if I didn't have a wholesale license. And I would probably use like the Pro Club Comfort shirt or even Shockaware Active. Find those in downtown LA, pay cash for them, and then build up my inventory that way if I had to go back and do it. Um, Swoley Mammoth. Oh shit, I'm cool, man. Chilling. How do you gauge pressure on a press that doesn't have a pressure display? This is how I do it. I lay the t-shirt down. I crank the knob all the way down. Like the knob, I crank it all the way down to where you can't clamp it shut, right? So if I can't clamp it shut, I'll back it off a half turn, try it again, back it off another half turn, and then do it again until I get a solid press where I clamp it down. Now that's my heavy pressure. And I'll mark it with a Sharpie on the threads that I could see, like the last thread I could see before it hits the press. I'll mark a Sharpie around that, and then I'll say that's my heavy pressure for t-shirts. That's basically what I did before they came out with the shirt pressure knob on the Signature Pro when I had the Signature series, my 15 by 15. If you looked at the threads on my knob, they were all marked with different colors because it was like heavy pressure for t-shirts, medium pressure for t-shirts, heavy pressure for hoodies, medium pressure for hoodies, because certain plastisol transfers used to call out for either heavy pressure or medium pressure. Let me see. When going about putting your measurements online for DTF transfers, how do you know how big or small when putting it on a t-shirt? Any tips? Do you just use a ruler or just lucky guess? Nah, I use like this is what I do. So like to figure out the size of this design right here, right? I'll get a piece of tape before I even make this design and I'll put a piece of tape on the t-shirt. Like I'll tape off a box, I'll put the t-shirt on and I'll wear it in the mirror and be like, all right, that looks cool. I want it to be a little bit bigger. I want it to be a little bit smaller or taller. I'll adjust the tape accordingly. And then once I see what the fit looks like the actual square or rectangle around what I'm doing, I'll take a ruler and then I'll measure that. And then I'll design to those measurements and say, all right, I want the design to fit within this rectangle right here because I like the way that placement looked on the t-shirt. I do that for the front hits, back hits, everything. That way, when I go and I put down, like I open up Photoshop to design something, I'll design directly to those measurements and I'll say, all right, this was 11 and a half by 6 or something like that, right? So I make my board 11 and a half by 6, and then I make sure all the text fits within those specs. And then when I order the transfers and my gang sheets or gang rolls, now I just drag and drop that design sized up the way I want it onto the gang sheet and then order them up. But I do that for everything. I use blue painter's tape, the 1-inch tape, and I have rolls of it at my shop. And then I'll just put it on there. That's the easiest thing to do to try to figure that part out. Love your content, JJ Mag. Um, Flex Style by Stalls, World Emblem. Why or why not? I have no idea what Flex Style is. Sorry, I'm not 100% sure what that is. It's good, Brando. How do you guys make T-shirts with those huge prints? Is that possible with the heat press? Yeah, you just do it in pieces. So, like for example, a lot of people do those. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're called Spirit jerseys by Disney, like Disneyland, Disney World, Disney in general, and it's like the the word Disneyland is coming up the arm, goes across the back, all the way across the back, down the other arm. So obviously that's like a huge ass print. So you just do it in pieces, right? So you do the sleeve first, boom, then you do the back, then you do the other sleeve. So it could be done with the heat press fairly easy by just pressing it in sections. The same thing with like big ass prints. You just either you get a big ass heat press or you just press it in sections. Is there a big price difference between AS Color? Wait, is there a big price difference between AS Color you change from Shaka Active? Nah. AS Color block T-shirt is wholesale, I think like 360 maybe, and then Shakaware Active tees is like 350 maybe. So not a big price difference. Fairly the same. The only big difference and noticeable big difference is the AS Color block shirt way softer. Same, not same weight. It's like the same feel, not feel. It's the same, I guess, weight of a t-shirt, but just one has a softer cotton hand feel, I guess. That's why I said, like, when people come to my store, I show them the two different blanks, and I'm like, look, this is Shakaware Active. Touch this, feel this, and then here's the AS Color block shirt. Touch this, feel this, and the first thing people say is, "Damn, shit's way softer." It's just something that you have to feel in comparison. You know what I mean? But like dimension wise, kind of similar. So if you're familiar with the All Style 1701 t-shirt, it's the same cut and fit of that shirt, which used to be my favorite t-shirt to print on and wear and everything, just with a softer cotton. Feel you. That's what I'm paying now. I'm using Next Level for now and thinking if I get my wholesale, I'll be switching out. But so far, I'm liking the fit and feel. Yeah, man. And if it works for you, don't even switch it up, man. Like, you know what I mean? If your customers like it, you like it, stick with it. You know what I mean? That was such informative information, man. Thank you so much. Not a problem, Swoley Mammoth. What's your favorite material to work with? 100% cotton. I've been printing on polyester lately, different temp settings. I have no customers that want polyester. I tried it. Um, I just don't have the clientele for it. Like my customers usually just like 100% cotton t-shirts, and that's it. Not even like cotton poly blend shirts. They would just want 100% cotton. Um, I tried doing like some uh, dye sublimated t-shirts that were 100% polyester, and they didn't sell whatsoever. What's the best printer for a newcomer? I don't print nothing from home, so I don't know what printer would be good to invest in. I would say just order your transfers from companies that already have the printers. Don't invest in the printer if you're not planning on selling transfers. If you're just planning on printing for yourself or for your own merch, it wouldn't be worth it to buy a printer. Um, I would say let the big printers worry about the printing, and then you just worry about the t-shirt sales. So it's a lot of like production. A lot of people forget when we're the home business and we're selling t-shirts and stuff like that, we're wearing many hats, right? We're doing the research and development, we're doing the marketing, we're the customer service, we're doing this, we're printing, we're sourcing the blanks, we're doing everything, sales, we do it all. But what a lot of people like don't really pay attention to is actually making the sale, how to sell the shirts. You know what I mean? Everybody gets so caught up in, all right, I need the best equipment to do this. I need to go out and buy a I need to buy a DTF printer because I don't want to pay somebody to make my transfers. But you're not focusing on actually selling the products. You're focusing on everything else but selling the products. And it's cool to think about everything else, but how are you going to make money? Like you need to really focus on selling the shit. And that's the part that a lot of people start to forget is because they get caught up in the production side of things because they want to buy the printer and they want to do all this stuff themselves. And yeah, let's cut the middleman out and all that stuff. But you forget about what you're actually selling. You know what I mean? You're forgetting about the t-shirts. You set out to sell t-shirts. So I started saying this early on was I had a DTF printer in my shop. I had DTG printers in my shop, but when I had the DTF printer, it was like, do I want to be a slave to the printer? Like, do I just want to sit here and print transfers all day, or do I want to print T-shirts to sell? And that's what it was for me. I like selling T-shirts. I don't want to be a slave to the printer, and I don't want to just sell transfers. So I got rid of the machine. It didn't make sense for me to have the machine because it took the fun out of what I actually do. And the fun part for me is actually selling T-shirts. Like that's what I do. My retail store is there because I like to sell t-shirts. You know what I mean? I don't want to sell transfers. I don't want to sell my services. I just want to sell t-shirts. So a lot of people always think like, oh, I need to buy the printer. I need to buy this. I need to do this. You don't have to. Think about selling. Like, how are you going to make the money? You're going to get this printer, like, and print your own transfers to put on t-shirts to sell. Focus on selling the t-shirts, and you're not gonna. It's gonna be hard for you to focus on selling the t-shirts when you're trying to figure out how to print this machine or use this machine to print your transfers. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to just be like, all right, I don't mind paying for these transfers. I don't mind letting the big transfer companies worry about production of actually printing the transfers. All I need to worry about is pressing them and selling them and focus on where the money's actually going to come in from. It's hard to get that through people's heads because it's almost like you're a dream crusher at that point. And you're like, oh man, like I want to invest in my business. I want to invest in myself. I want to invest in this printer. Don't tell me what to do. I'm like, all right, cool. But don't forget about where the money's going to come in from. You know what I mean? That should be way more important on how to make the sale versus how to make the transfers. You know what I mean? Um, Let me see. At what moment in your teacher career did you realize what you're doing works? What's the mentality you should keep? For me, it's just understanding customers, knowing what your customers want, giving your customers exactly what they're asking for. For me, I'd never stop thinking about the customer because those are the people that are going to be buying the shit from me, right? So I always design with the end user in mind. I always, when I design something, I'm already thinking, all right, I'm going to sell it to this exact person right here. And then I go out and I market to that exact person. Um, Knowing who I want to sell to helps with just making money. You know what I mean? Um, Once I kind of let the rest of the nonsense that comes with the business go, not go, but I put more attention into making the sale and who I'm selling to. The business got way easier for myself. You ever put a QR code on a T-shirt, like maybe on the arm or back of the neck, to take people to your website or even inside the size? Seen a dude on YouTube with a QR code saying "F you." I've never done it personally. I know people that do it. On my neck labels, I just have my logo, the size, and then my website. That's about it. I don't. I mean, you can put the QR code in there. It's a easy thing to do now with DTF transfers, but I choose not to. And especially with an exposed QR code, like on the outside, that's not the look I'm going for. Like, I don't want to wear a T-shirt that has a QR code on it. So, I mean, that shit doesn't look cool to me. Like, if I'm dressing up to go out somewhere, I don't want to have a QR code on my shirt. So, chances are my customers don't want that either. On the inside label, it'll probably work. But yeah, I already have my little neck labels already pre-made up. So I don't think I'll be putting a QR code. But I mean, if you wanted to put on the sleeve or put it on somewhere just for advertising purposes, go for it, man. Let me know how it works out. If it works, cool. You know what I mean? It's true. I've been making large orders with local gyms in Central California, Fresno area. Hell yeah, get that money, Extreme. Do you have a company that you recommend for transfers? I'm sorry, bro, for asking so many questions. That's what these things are for. The transfer company that I use is Supercolor. I use the Supercolor wearable transfer. That to me has been the best quality, best durability, best clarity, best consistency when it comes to transfers. Wash test results are on my page already. Like, you could really check out how these things hold up on my channel. That's why I use them. They're not the only transfer company in the world. It's just what I found to be a great product for myself. That's why I use them. Um, is it that ridiculous to order quality shirts, make them, print, and then sell them? Nah, not really, man. It's pretty easy once you understand who you're selling to. And I don't want to make it sound like, oh, it doesn't take hard work and shit like that. But once you kind of understand your target audience and how they move, how they operate, what they like to wear, and you just kind of feed them those products that that they're gonna relate to and they're gonna be into, it gets way easy, man. It does. Like, and you just start to get into this flow of just giving them exactly what they want. But it also comes down to having to know knowing the person, you know what I mean? Or knowing the customer base. Um, I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't have my notepad out. Yeah, not a problem. And for those that are just tuning in now, that all the live streams that I do on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock from here on out, I'm gonna keep them on YouTube so you can rewatch them. You know what I mean? Let me see. I'm making a playlist of your old videos now. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Um, for me, the playlist that I already curated for people to watch, like if you just wanted to get into the print business, um, I have a playlist called Back to Basics, and that lays out everything from planning and structuring the business to equipment transfers, blank T-shirts, marketing tactics. Everything is kind of laid out in there, start to finish in video form. And then if you already run a brand, I have a playlist on there called Starting from Scratch, and it'll show you how I start a brand from basically nothing, how I fund the brand, all the way to making sales and marketing. And then I have another one called fuck, I can't even think for this shit. Printing money. It's called Printing Money. So it's basically showing you guys how I take just, you know how like people always ask like, hey, how many t-shirt designs should I launch when I launch? And I always tell people, man, launch with one design. If you have one solid design, just launch with that. People look at me crazy, and I show the whole like the process of launching one design, how I marketed that one design, how I made tons of money with that one design. I even show some of the failed marketing tactics that I tried. Um, but that's on there too. So utilize the playlist if you wanted to. Like shit's already broken down for you guys. Um, Back to basics, printing money, and starting from scratch. And then if you wanted to like learn how to make your business legit, like register your business, get your wholesale license, all that stuff. I got a playlist about that shit too. And I think that playlist is called like Make Your Brand Legit. I think that's what I named it. Try it out. Let me see. Um you're an OG in this t-shirt game. We look up to you. I appreciate that, man. I just be trying to share the information that works for me. You know what I mean? You're doing so much for all the brands just starting, bro. That's the whole goal of this of what I do is basically just being able to share as much information as possible to anybody that's like trying to come up and learn how to make a little bit extra money, try to get into this t-shirt game. Like I don't know everything about the t-shirt industry. I just kind of know what worked for myself, and that's kind of what I share with people is because if I made some money doing this, chances are somebody else can make some money doing this. And I just kind of want everybody to better their own situation. Like I really want people to make way more money than me in this t-shirt game. Um, I talked to some like real heavy hitters in the t-shirt industry that own huge brands, and a lot of times those huge brands been in the game for so long, a lot of people don't know the origin stories or they don't remember those brands when they were first starting up. So where my videos and my help comes in is for those years of you just starting out and get learning a thing or two about sourcing different t-shirts and stuff. And then eventually when you go on to be like a huge ass brand and a household name, that's way beyond my expertise. I wouldn't be able to help you out at that point, but just getting people going is where it's at. Like for myself, that's what I do it for, is just to help people get started, make a little bit of money, and then help them grow the business from there. You know what I mean? Do you know any transfer companies that can do large reflective prints up to 26 inches with semi fine lines just to make it easier instead of weeding HTV every single time? Matt DeLeon, I don't. You could probably try 613 originals. I don't know if they have a big 26-inch transfer. I know Supercolor does reflective, but their biggest sheet size is like 11.7 by 16 and a half. So it wouldn't meet your 26 inches unless you just did two different transfers and then stacked them up. Um, you might get away with that, but yeah, those are the only transfer companies that I could think of offhand that like do reflective But I don't know about doing reflective in like big ass sheet sizes. That part I don't know. Sorry. But yeah, I would try look at 613 originals. Maybe even FM Expressions offers a reflective transfer. I know Supercolor does because I use their reflective transfer all the time. It's just not that big. But I know what you mean by weeding the shit up. Shit gets tiring. Um, I'll be setting up a table locally to sell my t-shirts. Is that a good idea? Hell yeah, that's a good idea. I used to sell t-shirts out the trunk. Um, and I've told this story before, but I used to do it the same exact way that the food trucks used to do it. I don't know where you live, but here in Los Angeles, like years and years ago, those gourmet food trucks were a popular thing around here, and they would use Twitter to promote their food trucks, like where they're going to be at, right? So they'll be like, "Oh, check it out! Like on Friday, we're going to be at this location from this hour to this hour." So since the shit worked for them, I was like, all right, easy call. I'm going to do this shit for myself. So I would say, all right, from this time to this time, I'm going to be in this parking lot here on the corner of Western and Artesia selling t-shirts. And then that way it just kept like carrying on. One of the big ones is the way I was doing it was I would just post the t-shirts that I was planning on selling, and then I'd actually just go out and do the shit. Um, and it started out slow, and then it grew into something bigger where I was inviting other clothing brands, and I'm like, it almost turned into like a weird little night market in a random Papa John's parking lot. And it was because there was a Burger King there, and the Burger King shut down, so the parking lot was open. So I would just post up in this parking lot, pop my trunk, and be like, I'm here for the next 2 hours. Come through and pick up these shirts or hats or whatever I was selling. And I ran that thing and I made thousands, and I moved thousands of t-shirts in 4 months. In 4 to 5 months, I think I did 7,500 t-shirts out the trunk. With this same tactic, I just used Twitter and Instagram at the time. I said, hey, I'm gonna be here selling these t-shirts. These are the t-shirts I got. And I'll post up in random parking lots at first around the city of Gardena, and then I started doing it in the same parking lot on different days. And people just knew to come, and I would only be there for an hour or two until I sold out. But yeah, I killed with that, and I was selling the t-shirts for only $15, man. Like that's how ill it was. Was my prices didn't even have to be high because I was supplying these t-shirts at such a low cost because it was only costing me cents to make. You know what I mean? Like I was using all style 1701 t-shirts, and at the time I was getting them for like shit, I think like $2 or something, like 2, $3. I was using transfers. I was getting the transfers for $1 for a gang sheet, and I had two designs on each one. So like the cost was like dumb cheap to make these things. Like it was like coming down to like a quarter a print, or a quarter a design on the sheet, right? Because I'm only paying $1 and there's four on the thing, front hits, back hits, all on the same transfer. And I was killing, man. And I didn't have to get greedy and like charge crazy amounts. It was just easier for me to just create the hype around it and move $15 t-shirts because there's so many people coming to pick them up. And eventually I moved it into bars, and then people would ask me like, hey, you want to come sell shirts at my spot? Because I was bringing a crowd. Then it just worked out that way. But yeah, if you set up a table somewhere and post up, use your social media to drive the traffic, start selling them bitches up, man. I 1000% stand behind that. What do you do when some products don't sell? Do you do a giveaway? When I have products that don't sell, I talked about this on the last live stream. Is I started this thing. It's called the Dough Project, DOH Project. I donate all the shit, so I donate it to the homeless. So what I do is like, say if t-shirts don't sell, I take a t-shirt, I put it in a bag, I put hygiene products in there, I put a fresh pair of brand new socks in there, I put bottles of water, and I put like some snacks and shit. So it could be like trail mix, it could be granola bars, it could be Slim Jims, whatever I go out and buy, I put them in these bags and then I hand them out to the homeless. The reason it's called the Dough Project is my name is Brando, so DOH, and then DOH stood for Dressing Our Homeless. And when I would do it, sometimes I'd have a ton of these bags, right? And then I'd go out and give them out. And when people see me doing it, they're like, "Hey, what are you doing this for?" I would just say that I worked for the Dough Project, and that's what I was doing. I never said like I own this business and I'm donating this stuff on my behalf or nothing like that. I didn't want nobody to know I owned anything. I just wanted them to know what I was doing. Like if somebody asked, I'm like, "Oh shit, well I work for the Dough Project and I'm just handing these things out." So whenever I have shirts that don't sell and they're pre-printed, that's what I do. Or like let's say if like say if one of the homies is doing a fundraiser and they're shipping like a container down to Samoa or to the Philippines or anywhere that they're filling up a container with supplies to go somewhere, I'll bring a bunch of my t-shirts on behalf of the Dough Project and then just donate the stuff. For me, it's I don't chalk it up as a loss. It's just like I the real estate in my shop means more to me than what those t-shirts are actually worth. You know what I mean? Like if you have a bunch of t-shirts, like let's say you have 4 dozen t-shirts. I don't know if you guys know what 4 dozen, like 48 t-shirts folded up, how much space that takes. In let's say if you're operating out of your house or something, like that takes up valuable real estate. So sometimes those t-shirts, giving them away, like that real estate is worth way more in your workspace than they're actually worth dollar amounts. You know what I mean? Because you could fill up new stock there for shit that is selling. So a lot of times if something doesn't move for me, I donate it. And that's why I started that thing called the Dough Project. And Christine and there's some other people in here that are doing the same thing. Sacria, I think, was doing something similar. It's just donating stuff that don't sell. I just put a name on it because I never wanted to tell people like, "Hey, I own this store or I own this brand and that's why I'm doing this." The attention isn't on me. The idea isn't to make it about myself. The idea is just to give, you know what I mean? So that's what I do with them. And the only reason I put a name on it was when people started hearing about what I do, when somebody asks a question like that and they hear what I do, they say, "Hey, how can I donate to that?" And I feel weird taking money from anybody based on me trying to give back because I feel like that's a weird thing. So for the people that did want to donate to what I was doing, I'm just going to make t-shirts that say Dope Project or Dope DOHP and sell those. And then the money from those t-shirts will go to funding, like all the money from that one t-shirt will go to fund one of those bags to give away to somebody. So I don't feel so bad by selling a t-shirt that you get and you get a t-shirt to wear and then that donation goes to funding one of those bags. That way it doesn't feel like I'm just taking money in as a donation to give to somebody else. It's you're getting something in return and you're also funding one of those bags to be given to somebody. And like I said, it's just a t-shirt, a bag, like those drawstring bags, but I don't use those nylon ones. I use the cotton ones or the denim ones, or sometimes I use the canvas tote bags. It's a t-shirt. In the wintertime, it's a blanket, rolled up blanket, a pair of socks, fresh pair of brand new socks, and hygiene products are like the main things. And then it's always water and it's always whatever snacks I could get to throw in there. And I don't give it to everybody. I give it to people that actually want the help. You know what I mean? There's some people that don't want the bags, and I've encountered this a lot. Is maybe it could be a pride thing, or I notice a lot of people travel light. Like if somebody's on the side of the road, they're traveling light, so they don't want to carry an extra bag of some stuff. You know what I mean? And they're not looking for those types of things. And no harm, no foul. Like it's not on me. You know what I mean? If somebody wants it, I give it to them. If they don't want it, I don't force it on them or nothing. You know what I mean? It's just about giving shit away. You know what I mean? And helping out. Let me see. But it's like when the fires happened. I explained this in the last live. Was like when the fires happened in Maui. The first thing I did was cleaned out my shelves in my shop. And then I hit up the homie Chaz, who runs Central Maui Boxing Club, because he lives in Maui. And when the shit was going on, he opened up his gym for people that were affected by the fires to stay there. And I just told him, "What do you need?" And he was just like, "Shit, I can use hygiene products. I can use t-shirts. I can use anything. These people don't got nothing." So I sent cases of shit to him. And what he had told me was, there's so many people that clean out their closets when it comes to donating. And yeah, it's cool, but there's a sense of normalcy that happens when somebody that doesn't have nothing gets something brand new to call their own and it's not somebody else's. You know what I mean? So that's why I made a thing to do like brand new socks, brand new t-shirts, brand new blankets, and shit like that. All right. I hate to harp on it like heavy, but I know you just asked the question on what I do with the t-shirts I don't sell. So um, that's what it is. Um, I'm wanting to go to cars and truck shows to vend. Would it be better to pre-make shirts and bring them or bring a press? Nah, I wouldn't bring a press. I would just pre-make the shirts and bring them out there, man. The best way to do it is before you vend over there, wear the shirt that you want to sell over there and then start to get that crowd interested in what you're wearing, and see if you get some reactions off of it. And then you know what designs to bring. You know what I mean? Weeding is worse. Yeah, weeding is hard on my eyeballs. Drop us the knowledge, Lexar. Appreciate that. Stacking is actually a very good idea. Thanks, Big Brown. Yeah, not a problem. Think it's a good idea to use my existing one color designs on t-shirts. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Really good. $20 a good price. $20 is a cool price. It's easy because you don't have to give change. Like, usually people come with a $20 bill. Bingo. I watch because you share so much info. You come across as sincere and a regular dude. Bought my heat press almost a year ago, still in the box, but I've been admitted into the hospital 7 times. Oh, geez. Man, hope you get better, man. Even if that press is in the box, you got a moneymaker on your hands. It's what it is. What's happening, bro? A lot of time to watch all your videos. Can't wait until I walk well and unbox and start making shirts. Hell yeah, get that money, Daryl. Get better and then get the money. I'm a graphic designer and I came up with my own horror themed t-shirts. Create all my designs, also create t-shirt designs for others. My only problem is I do not know how to get my stuff in front of people. Any tips? Social media, man. So if you got horror themed stuff, you should just start looking at people that are into horror themed shit like movies and what have you, and start engaging with them on social media. That's the best way to do it, man. Thanks always for your wisdom, man. Not a problem, Sacria. Yeah, Beast. What I would say is get on social media and just start like interacting with people, create conversations about horror themed things, not even about your t-shirts, but all it is going to create a little bit of engagement between you and a potential customer. And then they're going to look at your page and be like, oh shit, this guy makes horror themed t-shirts. These things look pretty dope. There's never a time where they would actually find you by accident. So by you going to their page and finding them, and you could just look up popular hashtags around the horror scene type stuff, right? Like horror movies, popular movies, stuff like that. Whatever, you know more about that stuff than I do. So you would just look them up, and whoever's talking about this stuff, just go to the Instagram search bar and type in those words. Whoever's talking about it or posting about that stuff could be a potential customer to you. So all you do is go in there and start talking to them about horror themed stuff or movies they watched or whatever they're posting. When they come back and be like, hey, I've been talking to this guy for the last 10 minutes. Who the hell is he? Do I know him? Because we all do this. Curiosity gets everybody. They're going to click on your name and they're going to see all of your products on your page and the stuff that you do. And they're like, oh shit, he makes t-shirts around Freddy Krueger. I've always wanted a Freddy Krueger t-shirt. And then they're going to go and buy from you because now you know that they're into horror stuff because you're the one that found them. And they're going to look at your page and see products that relate to them. And then from there, they're gonna be like, I've been talking to this guy. He seems cool. Let me see what he sells his shirts for or whatever. And once they click your store, the shirts will do the selling themselves. You know what I mean? That's the best way that you could get your products into the faces of people without spending a dime on advertising. It's just you creating conversations with potential customers. That's all it is. Do you screen print? I think you mentioned gang sheets, so I'm assuming DTF is your go-to. DTF is not my go-to. I use screen printed transfers. I got into the game in the mid '90s, and I learned by just screen printing T-shirts. I learned how to screen print. I did that for many years, and then was introduced to the heat press. And from there, I understood, what I wanted to do for myself, and been doing it ever since. Let me see. I play the game Dead by Daylight, and would love to make some one-off shirts. Oh, there you go, man. Beast, Lexar, start making some cool shit, man. I've been looking into doing that, like even doing shit, horror movie review, easy call. I would start doing that now. I do commissions. Hell yeah, there it is. Beast, Lexar, make some money. Um, go to an Ice Nine Kills concert. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Dope though, man. Yeah, if anybody else got questions, man, shoot them out. But this live will live on YouTube forever. So I'll post it on YouTube right after we're done. Excuse me, you guys can go back and rewatch it, do whatever you guys need to with this thing. But appreciate you guys for jumping on, because every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we'll be going live on YouTube, and those lives will live on YouTube forever. So that's like a big thing is before all the live sessions that I would do, I would just post them on Patreon. But every Tuesday live will now live. So we'll just call it Tuesday T-shirt Talk. It'll be on YouTube. If I go live any other day throughout the week, those ones will still live on Patreon. But for every Tuesday, catch this one on YouTube, rewatch it, do whatever you need to. And hopefully we get more people tuning in and asking questions and keep the show rolling, man. What's your best advice when creating a great first impression for a brick and mortar? Create a mock-up, provide physical samples. Is there a checklist I should follow before asking to get into the store? Nah, but I usually bring the shit on an iPad so they could see what's going on. I would wear something that I made, so then that way they get a better idea on like, oh shit, like this what this dude does. This is what he's all about. Sometimes it's good to have metrics on how many shirts you sold. Like if you're trying to put your shirts into a brick and mortar, like in somebody else's store, it's good to have the metrics on how many sold online, so they know that you have um, a, a dedicated fan base already. People familiar with your stuff. A lot of times, these brick and mortars don't want to take a chance on new brands because they run the risk of now taking up valuable real estate inside of their store, hosting your T-shirt, and if it doesn't sell, then it's just kind of just collecting dust. So they want to. The idea is to move units within that store. So they're trying to bring in brands that they know they can move. So um, making them feel warm and fuzzy by showing them some metrics on how many units you moved of certain T-shirts and blah 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 always helps. But the biggest thing is be confident in the sales pitch, but don't be a dick when you're in that meeting. You know what I mean? Get in there and talk about your brand and brag about your brand, but at the same exact time, understand that you're going into somebody else's store. So know a little bit about that store before you go in. Yeah, your schedule. Yeah, quick one. Which social media do you prefer to use the most? Instagram. For me, majority of my clients live on Instagram. Might be like that for all of you guys. It's easy to navigate Instagram. The search page is easy to type in shit and then find potential customers. Posting on Instagram is fairly easy. So that's the one that I use the most. Saw you wearing a Harley hoodie. Milwaukee is where Harleys were born. Hell yeah. You want XL, right? Yeah. Send an XL to your store if that's okay. Consider it payment for the knowledge. Appreciate that, man. Shout out to Milwaukee too, man. That was one thing. Like I'm a Lakers fan, but then I noticed that the Bucks have the Harley logo on their jerseys, and I'm like, oh man, that shit would be dope. Um, but yeah, that's dope as hell, man. So I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody for jumping on, man. So like I said, every Tuesday, I'm guessing you guys get notified whenever I go live. I don't know how it works. Maybe you get like a notification in your email or something that I'm going live, but we'll do it every Tuesday at 7 o'clock California time, PST. All right. Appreciate you guys, man. Catch you on the next one. Peace.